But anyways, moving on to another depressing death that has already happened. And the ramifications of that character's death. Let's talk about The Last of Us. This is episode 4 of season 2, right? Three. Sorry,
of
episode
season
3
2.
of season 2. This was a great episode.
Very good.
This episode, and again, I have not played the game. I know you've watched a playthrough, but this episode from very obviously makes a lot of change. This is probably one of the biggest changes from the game. Tommy does not go out to save Joel at all. It is Dina and Ellie who goes out together.
Right. To avenge
Tommy
Joel, obviously.
What did I say?
You said save Joel. Joel's already dead.
Oh, sorry. Tommy goes out to avenge Joel. Sorry. Thank you.
Yeah.
But that does not happen at all, and I don't think it's going to happen. They very clearly have pivoted on that for it to be Dina and Ellie that goes out.
Which I don't know how I feel about that. Look, if Tommy is eventually revealed to have gone out to go after Ellie, that's a very different thing.
I don't think that makes sense for the character that they've built for this show. Maybe it makes sense for the Tommy you know in the game. I don't think that the Tommy they've built up in this show is the type of Tommy that is going to go out for revenge.
I don't know how I feel about that because Tommy is such an integral part of the second game. Again, not the whole reason Ellie goes out looking for Abby is because Tommy already went out. But she goes out at the beginning because she's looking for Tommy, because Tommy goes rogue and goes to try to kill Abby. I mean, honestly, I think there's a strong chance. I wouldn't be surprised if he stays in Jackson, and I'm not going to be hurt by it, especially because, like you said, there's a difference between the game Tommy and a TV show Tommy. But I also wouldn't be surprised if they did the inverse of what they did in the game, where Ellie goes out first. Ellie goes out for the revenge, and Tommy's the one catching up with Ellie. And Tommy's the one tracking Ellie.
That's very possible. That is very possible. In the sense of, well, and here's the thing: it would also make sense because with Ellie and Dina can't, like, the end of this episode. I know we're going to jump around a lot as we always do, but the end of this episode is to give us an idea of how big Wolf as an organization is. They have tanks. They have a lot more people than they originally anticipated. I mean, 16 probably wouldn't have even been enough. And in fact, it definitely would not have been enough. So the only way that Dina and Ellie can kind of get through is if Tommy goes to help and maybe even takes people with him to go help. And it's very possible that they're just flipping the script on that, similar to how they flipped Tommy and Dina in Joel's death, where originally it was Tommy that was with Joel when he died, and in fact it was Dina. So now it's Dina and Ellie going out instead of Tommy. Well, it wasn't Tommy and Ellie going out together, but Tommy going out and Ellie going out. It's Dina and Ellie.
Well, because also the main reason Tommy sets out on his own is because he has seen Abby's face. He has seen the entire crew's face. He doesn't know what these people look like. He doesn't know at all who he's looking for or what he's which also makes it makes sense why he didn't go out seeking for revenge, because he genuinely just has no idea. Like, okay, yeah, he has the name Abby. He has most of the names of everybody because Dina told Ellie told Tommy, and then brought it to the council. It would make more sense if he comes out second and either he went rogue to go look for Ellie, or he genuinely is bringing people to go help defeat Isaac and his crew, his gang. The name's with me. Wolves.
Yeah, it's Wolf. WLF.
Yeah. That's what I thought. It always slips my mind. I always keep thinking wool. It's not wool. That's not intimidating.
No, it's. I believe it's WLF, but it's wolf because their crest is a wolf.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think that this episode, and we're going to talk a lot about it with Thunderbolts too, but this episode deals a lot with grief and loss, and getting over loss while not letting it turn to revenge, because obviously in the beginning of this episode Ellie lost Joel and doesn't have any inkling of how to hunt down these people. And so she kind of just has to sit there and, she goes to the house, she goes and stares at Joel's clothes, looks at the box with his watch and his gun.
Yeah.
And it's her
Well, and it's
getting over it.
also, she spent we have a time skip at the beginning of this episode because she spends 3 months recovering from her injuries in the hospital, which I'm just gonna say feels a little extreme for what injuries I saw her have. Like, she got kicked and things, like, she definitely, like, had injuries, but, like, 3 months felt like a long time to be in the hospital for what we see her get. Maybe I'm misremembering, but, like, I don't
Unless it was
know.
like unless it was like a broken rib or something.
Even I was gonna say, even broken ribs, 3 months in the hospital. Now, granted, she seemed like, there's the whole thing with Jesse when Jesse is training Ellie, and he's like, "Oh, like, you clearly stayed in shape in the hospital." And she's like, "Oh yeah, I was doing crunches when they weren't looking and push-ups when they weren't looking, whatever." So very clearly she wasn't like debilitated or anything while she was in the hospital. She was still very much mobile.
Sure.
But yeah, I just gotta say, my 2 favorite characters of this season so far, it's not going to be a surprise whatsoever. It's Dina. Dina's number 1. I love Dina, not just because the actress is one of the most beautiful people I've ever seen. I have such a celebrity. Oh my god, she's so beautiful. I love.
Oh my god!
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Please don't simp on the podcast. Oh my god.
Okay, that's all I'll say. I think she is a beautiful human being. I love her acting. Anyways, she also plays Dora, by the way, if you didn't know that. She is the live action Dora. Yeah. But she not just because I think she's gorgeous, but I love her character. Like, I love Dina so much. My second favorite is Jesse. I love Jesse.
Jesse's really good.
And one of the things, and I wrote this down, is it was 8-3 was the vote. And you can almost guess who those 3 votes were. It was most likely Tommy. Tommy is the obvious one. Obviously, Tommy voted for them to go.
Yes.
Jesse would have been one of the other votes because he does allude to maybe he's not going to, but I think it's pretty obvious that Jesse did. I think Jesse voted because he knew that whether he voted for or against, Ellie was going to go anyway. So he'd rather vote for so that Ellie would have support. That is my reasoning. And then I always forget the name of Tommy's wife. It's Maria, right?
Maria.
Yeah, Maria. I believe she voted for. I do believe that Maria voted for as well. Because I don't know who else on the council would have voted for. Because it was only 3, and there's only 3 characters that we know on the council that care about Joel to the degree that would require a yes, or that would lead to a yes vote. Because even after you get Ellie gave a fantastic speech. Granted, it was all a lie, but it was a fantastic speech nonetheless.
Right.
But I think the speech that was even better, I love this speech, was Seth. I think Seth in this episode. Seth came in clutch. He started out as a homophobic piece of shit in the first episode with his drunken comments at the dance, to now being the homie. He's hooking Dina up. He's hooking Ellie up, and he defied the council to give a actually really well thought out and meaningful speech as to not necessarily why we should save Joel, but why we should save anyone who was put, or not. Again, it's not save, but why we should not necessarily seek revenge, but why we should go after someone who harmed our own, because we'll seem weak. We'll seem like we can't defend ourselves. If you kill our own and we do nothing about it, what does that say about us? Now, the logic that's given in contrast is we don't want to be like them. We don't want to seek revenge. We don't want to be fueled by rage, which is, they're both very valid arguments. And I can understand why the council voted against, whether I agree or disagree. I think it is a very difficult position to be put in, of you're going specifically, though the whole vote is to send 16 people out and execute Abby. There's no saving there. I know I keep saying saving, but you're not saving. The only goal is to execute Abby, not even her people, just Abby. And there's no net benefit other than not seeming weak and taking a threat off the board that we don't even
Well,
know if they're going to come back.
well, and honestly, this whole topic of conversation wouldn't even be happening if they knew exactly why Joel was being killed. Because all everybody knows why Joel was killed was because, oh, it's just a group of people who murdered him, and that was it.
Yeah. Yeah, they
Nobody
have no
actually,
context.
even Dina doesn't know why
Yeah.
Joel was killed, what he did in Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
Nobody, no,
It
Tommy,
definitely would have.
Tommy knows
Yeah.
that Ellie is immune, and that's it. No,
Yeah.
maybe
And
Maria. Maybe.
Tommy doesn't, to my understanding, Tommy still doesn't even know that Joel did what he did in
No,
the hospital. Like, no
Tommy doesn't
one
even know.
knows except for very clearly Ellie knows. And obviously I know we're going to get that through flashbacks of her putting the pieces together or finding out. Joel doesn't know that she knows, but it's very clear that Ellie does know, and that's why she's pissed off.
Sure.
But even because we have that whole commentary where Ellie's in the hospital and the psychiatrist comes in and is like, "Oh, Joel felt bad and he knows what he did and he saved you." And that's when you can Ellie's like, "Yeah." Like maybe and here's the thing, maybe she didn't know for certain, but I feel like after that comment of, "Oh, I saved her and that's why," like if she didn't know before, she knows now why she's still alive.
Well, I think she does know, and I think that in that moment, it's Ellie just acting with Gale. Ellie,
True.
because in the game they do genuinely have like a whole character conversation moment in which Joel basically, like, he doesn't outright tell her, like, yeah, this is what I did, but Ellie puts the pieces together, confronts him about it, and
Mhm.
Joel has no defense, so she
Yeah.
knows. Like, if Joel was lying or making up a story, there'd be doubt, but at least she would 95% know, but then have the doubt with 5% because Joel isn't actually telling the truth. No, like,
Mhm.
he has no defense. And
Yeah.
there's actually a line in the trailer for season 2 in which Ellie looks at Joel and goes, "You swore," um, which clearly is alluding to the eventual
Goes back, yeah.
confrontation in which Ellie will confront Joel about everything that he had done. Um, but I agree with you as far as Dina and Jesse. I think they're wonderful additions to this cast. And I love Isabella Merced as
Mhm.
an actress. I think she's phenomenal. In everything except Madam Web. I think she's phenomenal. I don't blame the actress
Well,
for Madam Web. I blame the writing for Madam Web.
I was gonna say that's not anyone's fault other than the writer's fault. Like, not
But
saying that
they're
all the actresses in that movie are phenomenal actresses. Like, I love Sydney Sweeney because she's beautiful, but I don't think she's the best actress ever, obviously. And Madam Web definitely did not prove that. But yeah, anyway,
I
back to the last, like,
yeah, I
I
think I don't know, man. The biggest thing that I'm wondering is how Jesse comes back into the fold. Which it
Do you
might not
think
be
Tommy and
very.
Jesse are gonna pair up together to go after Dina and
That could very
Ellie?
well be the case because in the game, if I remember correctly, because obviously Tommy's already gone, Jesse just comes after Dina and Ellie,
Okay.
uh, and comes to their aid, and that's the whole story. It could be both Tommy and Jesse, and then they write out Tommy a little later. There could be a point in which Tommy will eventually go out on his own and get ahead of everybody else. That'll be like a later on thing. Because once he starts on the quest for revenge, he might tell Jesse, "Get these two home, get them safe. I'm gonna go and do this
Yeah.
because he wants to, because he's trying to protect
I mean, that
both
that
of them."
that is, I mean, and maybe that's where we end this season off,
Sure,
because again, we know that this isn't
sure,
covering all of game 2. So maybe that's where we end this because what we're on episode 3, we have 4 more episodes left because we only have 7
yeah,
episodes this season. So
yeah.
it's going to be interesting to see. I wrote a note in here that I wanted to read verbatim. I wrote, also Dina not gay. Boo. Because they have that whole dialogue with Ellie and Dina in the tent. And man,
Yeah,
love her or hate her, but Ellie's actress does. I think she does a really good job. I
I
think
I,
she
I
gets a
love
little
Bella
bit too
Ramsey.
much hate.
I think
Yeah,
she's great. Obviously,
I think Bella Ramsey gets because like one of the scenes that I think is good. I know what you're gonna say. Obviously, she doesn't look like Ellie from the game at all. I think that is a very valid criticism. I genuinely believe that is a very valid criticism. I don't think she's a bad actress though, and I think that people are just conflating the two. But like the reason I bring that up now is because they have that scene with Ellie and Dina in the tent, and they're talking about Dina is like, oh, I have a stupid question. And she was like, oh, am I a good kisser? And Dina makes the comment of, oh, that like it didn't mean anything. The kiss didn't mean anything. And Ellie's face, like, very was hurt. She's hiding it, but you can very much tell through her facial expressions that she's like, oh, like oh. And because Dina makes the comment of like, oh, well, you've kissed women before, like you're gay, I'm not. Like she like explicitly says it, and she also makes the comment about how she's already been together with Jesse again since the whole incident with the kiss happened. But then and this gives me a little bit of hope because I really like them together. I think they're very cute together. Is Dina makes the comment at the end of that whole conversation of like, you know, I wasn't that high, and you're like, hmm. Was there a little bit of feeling there? Don't spoil it because I know you obviously know where this goes because of the game. But
well, there's a massive twist that you're gonna like sit there. I already want you to like, if I watched the episode before you, I want you to record yourself that entire episode because I know there's something that you're not gonna expect that comes. I'm like, oh my
fuck
god,
you.
oh my god.
I'm not even gonna look at you. Put your face away. I'm blocking you. I'm gonna look over here because I don't want to see you. But if Dina betrays, if Dina dies, whatever. If Dina if there's any sense of Dina being a traitor or whatever in this show, I am walking out. I will record my reaction of me walking out my goddamn bedroom because anyways, but yeah, I love them together. I think that actually one other thing that we haven't talked about yet that felt very shoehorned in there, but I'm curious to see where it goes. Was the cult of like we got like zero context for anything about any like they communicate via whistles. They have a like disciple or what I wrote. I think I wrote it down. A prophet or something like that they follow. Prophet. I wrote down Scar-faced wanderers. That's literally all we know about them. We also know that they all get slaughtered. And then obviously Ellie and Dina come across them and they have that whole thing of like, was this Abby's crew? If this was like they slaughtered the children too. I don't think it's Abby's crew personally, because I think that would make no sense for the little we know about them not wanting to hurt innocents. Even though Abby, I think, has gone over the edge and she's probably is going to hurt innocents. I don't think she'd have a reason to kill all these people. So I'm curious to see, maybe this is the stalkers that we saw that are the more intelligent that now use guns. I don't know. I do feel like it was a weird shoehorn in here of like, we need to get this plot thread started somehow. So we're just going to show you these random wanderers and then show them all dead and leave you with a big question mark.
Well, and next week
we're
delving. Next week we're delving a lot more into Wolf as a group and a faction.
That's my assumption, and I'm assuming that maybe Abby didn't have anything to do with it directly. I do definitely think Wolf as an organization had something to do with the extermination of the cult, but I'm curious as to the reason as to why, and I guess if we get any more context as to what this organization even is. Because again, it just felt a little shoehorned in there just to get a plot thread started. And also for the shock value of, oh, they've all been killed and then Dina can't handle it and whatever. But I don't know. I am curious. Like, it served its purpose in that, but I still am like, like, cool.
I get you. No, I do. But all in all, I think this was a very good episode. It was well written. It was well shot. Oh my god, some of the shots in this episode were fantastic.
Oh yeah.
But
the shots of them, like going throughout and on their way to Seattle, and just the environment of them. I love the wilderness. I love like rivers and creeks and mountains and things. I mean, like that's where I was this past week. Like I love things like that. I'm a Boy Scout. I'm an Eagle Scout. Like I spent a lot of my life camping. These shots make me want to go. So like these are actual places I want to go so bad. They're so beautiful, and the show just does a fantastic job of capturing that.
Sure.
I will say, I meant to say this complaint with Andor, because Andor is really, really bad about this, but Last of Us is also a perpetrator. And I know that it's a very niche use case. Why can't we shoot everything in ultra wide? I watch most of because my TV is broken, I watch a lot of things on my ultra wide monitor, and they just don't look that good on ultra wide. They don't fill the screen. They feel very like condensed. I wish, especially with Andor, I wish it was a little higher quality in its filming in terms of like Last of Us looks beautiful. I think it's shot in 4K. I don't think Andor is, but I just wish that like I guess now I'm spoiled with like IMAX, for instance, like watching like multiple movies in IMAX recently. Like I want that for everything. And I know that's asking a lot, but I don't know. Small complaint. Very
Small
niche,
complaint.
small complaint.
But the writing of this episode was good. The cinematography was good. The performances were phenomenal. I loved how they dealt with the grief between Tommy and Ellie both. And
yeah,
look, man, I with what they changed from the game, I'm excited to see where they take the story in different directions and what they do with, you know, what they still have from the game. I'm excited to see that all play out.
yeah.
So
I'm right there with you.